Hello? Okay, so we're here today to talk about modernizing transit infrastructure. As I'm sure all of you are aware, this is a really exciting time for urban transit infrastructure. There's a lot of movement towards building more multimodal cities, making room for bikes, making room for pedestrians, taking away the room that cars have traditionally taken up in our cities. My name is Ariella Cohen, and I'm the executive editor at Next City, a nonprofit media organization reporting on cities and how to make them more sustainable, equitable places. I'm honored to moderate a pretty exciting panel here of officials from the public and professionals from the private sector, all of whom are doing really interesting things. And we'll start with Andrew Lynn from the Port Authority of New York.
Thank you, and good afternoon. I'm not quite sure how to start this. There you go. I'm going to be talking today, I'm from New York City, and the Port Authority, among its responsibilities, has control over all the tunnels and bridges that connect New York City to points west. And as many of you know, west of the city are 41 states, so how people get back and forth across the Hudson River from Manhattan to the rest of the country is extremely important. And we have a network of bridges and tunnels, starting from the top in this screen. There's the George Washington Bridge. It's the busiest bridge in the United States. Moving south, we have the Lincoln Tunnel, 3 tunnels that connect to the Port Authority bus terminal, which is the busiest bus terminal in the United States. Below in the blue, we have the intercity rail tunnels and commuter rail tunnels that connect to Penn Station, the busiest train station in the country. And then in addition, further south, we have 2 pairs of rapid transit tracks and 2 more tunnels for cars and trucks. This is a very old network. The rail tunnels are over 100 years old, and all the other infrastructure I've described is at least 50 years old. We have not added a single track or lane of roadway in well over 50 years. In that period, though, the population of the region has steadily grown. You can see the graph trending up. The population has grown about 16% in the last 25 years, and we expect another 16 or 17% growth in the next 25 years. And that growth has been west of the river as well as east of the river. It translates into more jobs and more people moving back and forth across the river. This chart shows you the number of passengers per day in both directions across the river into the central business district. This doesn't include the bridge. It's just the trips into Manhattan south of 60th Street, where they're the densest collection of office buildings and employment. And what you can see here is there's been tremendous growth in the number of people. It's grown from 600,000 trips a day 50 years ago to 100,000 or to 1 million trips today in 2012. And what I find remarkable about it is that we could have had that tremendous growth in the number of trips every day without adding a lane or a track across the river. And it's not a situation where these arteries were empty 50 years ago or 25 years ago. They've been busy and congested throughout that 50-year period. The chart is broken down by mode, and you can begin to see how things have changed a little bit. The red coloring is the auto and truck, and everything below it is transit. And as you can see, the transit share has grown significantly, and the red band has narrowed somewhat. How did we do this? There were sort of four basic principles or driving elements to what was done collectively by a bunch of agencies and decision makers over time. The first decision was really, a decision was not to build a new tunnel or bridge, not to do one big project, but to do many smaller things to optimize and make the most of the infrastructure that was there. And this involved taking every opportunity to take advantage and encourage the use of transit, pursue multiple modes of transit, use new technology, and then also expand peak periods of use. More specifically, what we did was, first and foremost, developed an exclusive bus lane in the morning on the Lincoln Tunnel to maximize the number of people that could flow through the tunnel. And this has been very successful. And in the morning, with the buses, we're now moving in the peak hour 9,600 buses through the tunnel. The express bus lane moves more people in an hour than any single rail line in the United States. Another big change was we reintroduced passenger ferry service across the river. 100 years ago, most people crossed the river by ferry service. It was discontinued, but we've revived it. It's only 3% of the traffic across the river, but that's a critical percentage during the peak periods. That 3% makes a huge difference in terms of relieving congestions on roadways. We invested in commuter rail service using existing rail right-of-ways, expanding services, integrating the service, and expanding its reach into New Jersey. On the rapid transit system, we are introducing new signal systems to increase the frequency of service, particularly in the peak hour. On all modes of transit, bus, train, rapid transit, we're using rolling stock that has more buses that have more seats, longer trains, double-decker rail cars, all to increase the number of people that can cross in an hour on the existing tracks and lanes. We introduced Easy Pass, our electronic tolling system, which enabled us to introduce variable pricing depending on the time of day. And that's had the effect of expanding the peak period. Through pricing, we've pushed trucks out of the peak period into the early morning and nighttime hours, and that's been a critical factor in relieving congestion. And finally, we've used our toll structure to encourage the use of buses by providing them with a very low toll, and that's contributed significantly to the growth of bus activity. So here's what's happened over the last 35 years. You can see the size of the circle, the number of passengers has expanded significantly, and the share of auto and truck has gone down from 38% to 23%. And correspondingly, the growth has all been in the blue, which is the various modes of transit. 83% of the growth has been in transit. And at this point, we've reached a point where in the morning peak hour coming into the central business district, 90% of the passengers crossing the river are taking some form of transit. In the United States, we have a a real romance with rail, and we think rail's great, but the truth of the matter is about this interstate network is that buses are really the workhorses. As you can see, the bus share has grown to 36%, and buses into the central business district carry almost as many people as rapid transit and rail combined.
What do you define as rapid transit?
Rapid transit is more like a subway as opposed to a heavier commuter rail. In the Lincoln Tunnel and in the morning peak, the buses are 22% of the vehicles, but they take 89% of the passengers. So in many ways, the decision over the years not to build a new tunnel or bridge may have been a wise one. We have more congestion as a result of that, but we have managed to shift the mode to transit to a large extent. We think we can do more, and it has certainly saved us some money and forced us to make the most efficient, economical use of the infrastructure we have. And in the last few years, we've achieved a major turning point in what's going on with the network. For the first time ever, we've had 7 straight years of decline in the number of automobiles on our crossings. And as you can see from this chart, going back to 1970 and earlier, over time there was a very steady increase almost every year. There were some periods when it was flat, when the number of cars on our crossings went up every year, and only rarely in case of a recession would there be a small dip. But we've had 7 straight years of decline in the number of cars, and much of that period the region has been growing economically. So even though there are more jobs and a lot of economic activity, the number of cars is down. So that that's provided welcome relief from congestion, and I think is an indicator that we'll be able to continue the trend we've seen of more transit and less automobile. There are a number of reasons why the number of cars is down. We can't tell exactly what's going on, but a big part of it seems to be demographics. The older baby boom generation, which was wedded to cars, has been aging out of the workforce. A new younger generation is much more interested in living in urban areas or suburban areas that are near transit and taking transit. They drive fewer miles per person than older people. In addition, it may be because the nature of the workforce in the city is changing. Somewhat fewer financial jobs, more tech jobs, health jobs, a different workforce that's perhaps less likely to drive. We also think it's because more people are working from home and commuting fewer days a week. And in addition, the escalation of tolls and the escalation of the price of gas have been a disincentive. So we think all these factors have combined to produce the decline in automobiles. What's happened now, though, is a new set of externalities are beginning to come into play, which I think will likely force us to build a new tunnel before long. And there are 2 things. One, security concerns. When we had the 9/11 attack, that put 2 of our tunnels out of service for an extended period of time. And now, combined with that concern, which led us to think we need more redundancy and resiliency, we have the weather and what may be a climate change affecting the infrastructure. We had Hurricane Sandy, and that knocked out vehicular tunnels as well as 6 rail tunnels, and that is not something that we can tolerate or or sustain. And we think it's likely that we're going to be getting more violent hurricanes like Sandy. And so we need a system that has more redundancy, more resiliency, and can respond to that type of event. And that probably involves building a tunnel that is less vulnerable, newer. A factor in our vulnerability has been just the age of our infrastructure. So I expect some big project will emerge in the years to come. In addition, we will be investing heavily in our bus system because we found that the most resilient system when there's a climate event. The buses can go anywhere. They don't get wiped out by the bad weather. Thank you.
Well, that works. Okay, and Andrew, thank you very much. I think I'm connecting with our topic quite well to your challenges based on an urbanized world. I mean, New York is one of the largest cities in the world. And as you have seen, or if you have discussed as well and presented, that you will go more and more for public transport. There are going to be less and less cars. I think what we are offering at ThyssenKrupp in this case, and that's what I wanted to present, with Axel is actually a modern way, a new innovative way of an accelerating moving walk, how we can actually bring more people to the public transport. And that's what I want to address in the next couple of minutes. Well, I mentioned urbanization, global megatrend. I mean, 7.2 billion people are living on the earth as of today. This will increase to up to above 9 billion in 2050, 104 cities with over 5 billion, by the way, million people. So we're talking about millions and billions. So we have more and more people living in the cities, and we need answers in terms of the right way and mix of solutions, of systems to move people through the cities. And that's what we are focusing with of course, having to acknowledge the status quo today, traffic congestion in all of our cities. You mentioned it, Andrew, with the cars. Of course, the trend goes the other direction thanks to initiatives that you have implemented. But we believe this need to continue so that we even more need to reduce the number of cars and pollution with it and wasting times and energies and efforts and not losing money through congestion. And in order to avoid that, obviously public transport is a number one solution. Metros are the way to go. And what ThyssenKrupp is participating and contributing is now to have a product solution in place with Axel, as we call it, from acceleration, a moving walk that is actually working 3 times of the speed of a regular moving walk. So with the intention to bring people closer to public transport and at airports, for example, also making their connections faster. That is what we are working on. And I would like to give you a certain idea how this could look like in the very near future, maybe in your city.
This is my favorite place to stay in, or work in, and to live in. Welcome to my city, the place for enjoying time with my friends, discovering new impressions, being inspired. This is the place to be. But moving in cities, getting from one place to the next, can be really exhausting. It can be impossible sometimes.
Causing an increase of stress, a significant loss of time and money, and pollution we don't need. Cities have to react to these demanding challenges by looking for new solutions that unleash existing transportation potentials of the metro systems. By enabling more people to benefit from the metro systems, get new accesses, accelerate mobility.
our city did react with a concept that unleashes the full potential of the metro system, giving us a convenient and much faster access to the metro. Now it looks that we have a metro station at every corner. Moving in the city is now fast and comfortable. I have to hurry. I need to get to the airport in 15 minutes. My girlfriend is waiting. We're going to travel to her parents over the weekend. It's only one step, fast and convenient. You can really move fast with no effort. You can enjoy the view or read your text messages. Hey, just some time.
Hey, that was fast.
Well, that was fast. Yeah, I think that's really the message of this new product that we're bringing across. By the way, some of you might have recognized the city of Frankfurt. I need to clarify that this system is not existing yet in Frankfurt. We hope, however, that this will happen in the future by obviously consulting with the urban planning departments and the airports in order to really come up with this concept of bringing people closer to their destinations. This product was actually launched about 2 weeks ago in our innovation center in Asturias in the north of Spain. And we're very proud of it that this, after more than 7 years of development time, has actually been possible to create a product that can meet the requirements. We are calling it filling the gap. When you look at this particular chart, the blue area is the coverage area that we have for Axle. As I mentioned, 7,300 people per hour per direction can be transported with the system, significantly more than with conventional moving walks. Also, the distance of the system that it can cover is significantly greater than the conventional moving walk technology. We can go up to 1.5 kilometers with our solution. It is filling the gap between conventional moving walks on one side and automated people mover and cabin-based systems on the other side, in order to really providing accessibility, and that is the topic that we are facing. Accessibility to metro stations. So one of the application needs is definitely in our metro networks to bring people closer to the metro stations, but also interconnect the metro stations much more appropriately than in what is happening today. This can save us all money by avoiding the need for investing into additional metro stations. It dramatically accelerates the transit time that we have. And of course, by facilitating, fostering really the development of metros and public transport, we are actually able to reduce the pollution or the CO2 emissions by taking the metro more attractive. So when you look at this particular picture here, where we are looking at an application, what we call feeder concept, the idea behind this is that often our metro stations in high-density cities still have untapped potential. So they can either create or have more passengers than they actually do, but passengers need to get to actually that particular station, or they can easily increase their existing capacities if they interconnecting more between the various options and opportunities of transport. And this is where we actually, with Axel, taking a stand in order to providing this connection, particularly at distances up to 500 meters. Our own research has shown that if people are living or being more away than 500 meters from a metro station, they rather taking other means of transport than taking the metro train. By having this product in the market with a travel speed of 2 meters per second, we are able to actually allow a greater catchment area, as we could see right now in the video as well. So the target is to increase the passengers that are using metros by 30%. At the same time, this goes in line with reducing car traffic even further by that particular amount. So bringing people easier and quicker to our public transport. Having said that, not just the metro is a target for this product, but also the airport environment. I mean, I think everyone is flying here a lot, and you can see that specifically today with gates and terminal extensions, the distances are quite large. 1 kilometer, you have a gate change, 2 kilometers maybe, and you don't have any fast way to actually overcome these challenges inside an airport. So be it between parking facilities and the terminal, be it between metro stations and the terminals in between. Again, the focus area is primarily between 250 and 500 meter distances, ideally. We have a solution now that can save passengers 2/3 of their time, allowing airport operators to have people in the shops, spending rather their money than, wasting their time waiting for buses in an airport. Instead, here with Axel, we have a faster way of moving people in this scenario. So for airports, an attractive solution, as much as to any other developing project. If you have urban development where you have exhibition centers, trade shows, for example, here, and you want to connect buildings, you want to have a faster access from the parking, giving greater convenience to your travelers, or your passengers or your clients getting to your facilities. Basically, that is an approach as well you have to think about when you are developing your urban concepts. Now, Axel at a glance, there is technology behind, and that's important to understand that this product has various speed zones. So we are working actually with 2 speed zones. You're stepping on the Axel product at a regular speed of 0.65 meters per second. So you don't feel the acceleration itself. The acceleration happens later on your journey, going up to a maximum speed of 2 minutes per second. And then later at the end of your journey, after your 300 meters or 500 meter distance, you are again decelerated to the level of 0.65 meters per second once again. So that's a convenient way, a smooth way, a safe way for the passengers to use. ThyssenKrupp has installed in the Pearson International Airport in Toronto a previous product called Turbo Truck. The difference between Axel and Turbo Truck has been that we are implying here and implementing magnetic technology, linear driving technology, to allow for an even more smooth and lower vibration journey and travel for the passengers, allowing a safer and more constant and low noise travel. And that is what we have developed for the last years. This product is actually available in 2 ways, a one-way version or a two-way version. If you see that here again, the distance is ideally 250 meters to 500. It can go even up to 1.5 kilometers. The application is when you look at the pallet concept of our product. If I step back, if you look at the right-hand corner up there, this pallet band that we have is actually in a rotating mode. So when you look into the one-way option, the pallets itself on their way back in the direction are under the surface. This way it allows us to have basically a regular width for the pit. The pit depth is a 1 meter pit depth, as more or less a regular moving walkway. And the pallets, have a distance of about 1,200 millimeters, overall installation size 4.2 meters. If you're actually now using the pallets on their way back, you can use it also to return your passengers or your travelers. So you can use basically one pallet band for the return travel as well. That gives also advantages on the cost overall for the system. So clearly for us, Axel and the development was focused on faster connections. 270 meters, kind of a standard distance. Instead of 415 seconds, you only going to have 140 seconds for your travel time. So 3 times faster transportation. And I appreciate your time. And I hope if there is interest that you stop by at the ThyssenKrupp stand. where you can obtain more information about our solution to foster urban mobility and helping cities like New York, for example, to even reduce cars and pollution even further. Thank you very much.
Ah, vale, ¿lo voy a hacer ella? Vale. Aquí, ¿no? Ah, con el cursor. Espera, ahora se lleva el ratón a ella. Sí, está con el cursor aquí. El cursor. Sí, sí. Vale, perfecto. Okay. ¿Qué ha pasado? Okay. Well, good evening. Thank you for your attendance. I am the mayor of Castellón, a Mediterranean medium-sized city of 180,000 inhabitants, and we are going to present the Castellón Mobility Smart City platform. Within this strategy of encouraging the local economy and the improvement of the quality of life in our city, there is a key aspect related to the urban quality and the sustainable growth that deals with the mobility. With the imminent arrival of a new trolleybus, Castellón is about to give one of the most important steps in terms of mobility, overcoming urban barriers some years ago. This means of transport that counts with different features that make it singular. And it is not a usual trolley because it works with batteries, without catenary along the city center to preserve the historical area of Castellón. The reserve platform and the preference in the traffic light crosses let this transport to have very good frequencies and punctuality for users. Therefore, the intelligent state-of-the-art web platform is at the disposal of all citizens and arrives at the best possible moment. Next slide. Las paso yo. Okay. Down, page up. Okay, Castellón is member of the Spanish Smart Cities Network, and as part of this initiative, we are committed with the importance of information community and communication technologies at citizens' quality of life service. We think that a city becomes smart if we purchase aim as being more efficient in the different fields, being every day more habitable, and above all, being sustainable in every urban step and in every decision that we make. The main objective of this new citizens tool is facilitating people's journeys within the city of Castellón through constant improvement of the information offer of the citizens. That is to say, to provide increased and enhanced information to all users. Without no doubt, having the relevant information is the best tool for the decision-making process, not only for the political ones, but also for the whole citizenship. Consequently, the main reason of this online tool is to facilitate the day-to-day urban trips in the city. And it is also aimed at the promotion of the use of public transport and the contribution towards a sustainable mobility in Castellón. Next slide. Bien, here, okay. Okay. This new online platform uses new technologies for sensing, centralize, and to collect data related to the urban mobility in a way that improves the information related with it, increasing its efficacy and efficiency. The intelligent platform, it is 100% coordinated by the control center, integrated systems, for an optical management of the information, offering this information in real time. It is a technology provided by Telvent, that Schneider Electric Group. The result of the whole technical work has been carried out during the last months, offering the opportunity of commuting in an easier way, with the possibility of planning the routes using a reliable system without estimations. This is with real data. On the other hand, the web provides what is known as static information. That is to say, non-variable data, useful for the citizens. In the map, there is information related to the location, for example, of taxi ranks in the city. Location of parking facilities for private bikes, that is to say, the public parking spaces that the council has distributed over the city for the use of private bikes. Location of loading and unloading areas based on a clear commitment to encouraging economic activity and the easiness of the local commerce. Parking spaces for people with reduced mobility, on the request of the collective of people with reduced mobility. A suggestion which emerged under the wing of the meetings of the accessibility plan that we have recently encouraged with a cash endowment of 1,000 euros. Location of a motorbike parking facilities with the use of the motorbike. We also promote the decrease of traffic congestions of the city, as we have a very mild weather. Reason why it is important the equipment of parking infrastructures for this type of transport and the support of instruments as the one we are presenting today. And also we can see the points of interest in the whole city. On the other hand, the platform includes real-time information related with the public transport following items. Location of urban bus lines, including the route and all the route stops, as well as the passing time of the next bus, available in every bus stop of the urban network. As you can see in the map, there is an explanatory window that offers information both of every bus line and the estimated time for the arrival of the next vehicles. Public bike rental, location of the areas of the, we call it BCCAS system in the city, and the availability of public bikes in every single point. We have more than 500 bikes for bike rental in the city. Traffic conditions, global knowledge of the traffic conditions in real time by GPS localization on the Castellón map in the main urban ways. Location of the rotation underground parkings in the city, located in different places of Castellón, and the available spaces at every time that you use this information. Also, we can see the traffic events. The web will offer information about any traffic event that may affect the city circulation, including traffic cuts and any other events that can affect the mobility as sporting or cultural events, the mobility as sporting or cultural events, maintenance activities, and the improvement in the streets such as works and street cuts. The platform also includes the urban routes. That means information about the fastest route between two different points in the city. Therefore, includes smart information about the time required for covering these distances. In the end, selecting different layers and maps, and one can obtain in a customized way the information required for every single user. This solution is called Eco-Traffic Cities of Castellón through the implementation relies with route sensors. With route sensors times allow us not only the planning of the routes between 2 points for knowing the best route in real time and the generation of high-quality reports, but also allows us to know the evolution of urban traffic flows in both real time and historical one. That technical mobility personnel can develop for detailed statistical analysis in order to know the movements in real time of our citizens, depending upon multiple factors affecting traffic such as the weather conditions, pollution, resilience factors, etc. Thus, as we have commented before, it is essential the vocation of continuous improvement in this new service. The smart city processes demand a constant evolution and a very strong political compromise unavoidable with the quality of life and the wellness of all of our citizens, back up with the opportunities that offer the emerging technologies. Under the sum of combined efforts, talent, technologies, and both public and private possibilities as occurs in this case. For this reason, as we have exposed before, the platform will soon feature integration of the tram. This is the new model of transportation in our town, and will be integrated in this platform. We are working on a mobile application for all the citizens that will soon come in the surface parking areas. Possibility of integrating more smart city items such as electronic administration, energy administration, and any other subjects that are of interest for our city. And thank you very much for your attention. We hope this platform will be the beginning of a new strategic vision of a smart city, integrating more applications in this platform that will be for interest in our city. Thank you very much.
Yeah, James Varghese. Yeah, that's come. Namaskar. I am James Varghese, Principal Secretary, working in a provincial government in India. I'll be talking about challenges in urban mobility in India. In India, about 30% of the 1.25 billion people live in urban areas. There are 468 100,000 plus cities in India, and out of which those 468, 93 are 500,000 plus cities, 53 are million plus cities. What I am trying to convey is that India is a country with a number of cities which require intervention to reach the smart city status. Urbanization in India is one of the highest. It is ever accelerating also. It was 11.4% in 1901, and now it is 31.16. And it is estimated that it would be around 40% in another 20 years. So urbanization is a fast process in India. Significance of urbanization in India: urban centers are the growth engines of the country. More educated workforce live in the cities, and they contribute 70% of the GDP of the country. So from the economic point of view, the urban centers are very important for the country. Urban development is very important from various angles. Indian cities developed recently in comparison to cities elsewhere in the world. Some of the cities in the Western countries are hundreds of years old, whereas our cities are relatively new, and at the same time they are not planned as well. They developed spontaneously, and therefore there is no planning input thus far into the development of the cities. The density of population is around 12,000 per square kilometers, which is fairly high. And Indian cities have a lot of inadequacies in various infrastructure sectors like housing, water supply, etc. An investment of $0.7 trillion US may be required to make these cities smart. So it is huge. And working in 100 cities simultaneously, as per the new policy decision of the government, is going to be a tall order. It is a big bang approach. We are taking the challenge to convert 100 plus cities to smart cities. So there is going to be a beehive of activities in the coming months in India. Urban mobility is a very important component of urban development. It has bearing on pollution and public health. In the various technical sessions, we had been discussing about those issues, and I don't want to repeat again. Congestion is a real problem. In some of the cities, congestion is too much of a problem that many of the industrial houses are fearing to locate there industries in such cities. So congestion is a real problem. Road safety is also really frightening. About 15% of the deaths in India is taking place in the 23 mega cities of India. And maybe 60% of the fatalities is the pedestrians. Therefore, it is a real issue of concern to the planners and also the political executive. The livability of the city is dependent on urban mobility, and therefore it is a very important sector in which the government of India is paying a lot of attention these days. There are a number of challenges in urban mobility. Many of these points we discussed in various technical sessions as well. But putting it in focus, I would mention some of the challenges which we are going to face while we are trying to convert 100-odd cities into smart cities. One is developing inclusive transport systems. That is one major challenge for us. It should cater to the differently abled people. It should have gender balance. It should cater to children and school-going students and other students. So inclusiveness of the transport system is very important for our country, especially as the percentage of children is one of the highest in our country. Then designing integrated urban transport institutions is also a major challenge. A number of players are there in urban transport sector in India. Transport department is active. In some areas, municipal corporations are active. In some other areas, special purpose vehicles may be there. So there is no uniformity as far as urban transport institutions are concerned. So some sort of integration has to take place there. It is a real challenge. Then shifting to transit-oriented development is also very important. Based on the development of the mass transport system, we have to redesign, replan some of the areas, and we may have to take this process very seriously. Then developing intelligent transport system, we had been listening to some of the presentations just now. Developing an intelligent transport system is very important because India is a country bringing with people and lot of commuters, and people are quite migratory because of the paucity in getting jobs and all. Therefore, developing an intelligent transport system is very vital to the development of India. Then developing alternate modes of transport is also very important. In our country, in many, especially 2 million plus cities, many cities are selected for metro rail development and other BRT and other developmental patterns. So developing alternate modes of transport is also very important. Then managing parking is a real challenge to the planners in India, because the cities were not developed in a planned way, and therefore in many of the cities there are not enough parking areas, which is leading to people parking their cars on roadsides and all, causing a lot of traffic bottlenecks. Then managing travel demand is also very important, so that we will be able to cater to the demand by supplying enough of facilities. Then developing intermediate transport is also equally important. By developing mass transport systems, the first mile and last mile has to be taken care of. And in India, the three-wheeler sector is very well developed, but we have to bring in legislation and also regulations to ensure that both the interest of the three-wheeler owners and also the commuting passengers are taken care of. Then shifting to eco-mobility pattern is very important as far as our country is concerned, as pollution is a real threat already. Pedestrian safety has to be taken as a very important challenge as far as India is concerned. As I mentioned earlier, the casualties of the pedestrian is very high, and therefore this is very important, providing pavements and also safe crossing areas and all these things, and earmarking areas for pedestrians exclusively. These things are all important for the country. Then service level benchmarking is also very important, because service level quite often is below par, and therefore benchmarking with well-performing cities is a very important strategy which we have to pursue, and it is a definite challenge. Ensuring access to public space is also equally important. Now many of the public places are occupied by vehicular parking and such other things. So ensuring access to public space is very important. For that, the city planning and also transport planning has to go hand in hand. Then coming to the last point of the challenges, funding mobility projects is too costly. It may require about 0.4 trillion US dollars over 20 years for making Indian cities smart. Increasing non-fare revenues and resorting to PPP are quite essential, and India is looking forward to partners from all over the globe so that PPP will become a reality and many of our cities will become smart in due course. Then I will cite one intervention in Kerala, which is a multi-modal integration project. It is known as Cochin Mobility Hub project in Kerala. Cochin is an ancient million-plus city, port city of the southernmost state of India, that is Kerala. City is not a planned one. It used to be a business center in the ancient times with the Persian Gulf and also some Western countries. So it is a very ancient city, and it is having a number of narrow and winding roads, and therefore traffic congestion is a perennial problem. And at the same time, it is a business center for a wide catchment area, and a number of buses ply to the city every day. Pollution is also very high, and Cochin Metro Rail is under construction to alleviate the problem. The state is going ahead with the project, and we expect that it will be commissioned in another 18 months. This Cochin Mobility Hub or Vaitala Mobility Hub, actually it is located in a place known as Vaitala, which is the gateway to the city, located at the junction of two highways. Long distance buses terminate there and the city buses start from there. Thereby, a number of the long distance buses could be diverted and prevented from entering the city. Usually the long distance buses carry few people in the tail end, and therefore by transferring those passengers also to the city buses, we could reduce the number of buses entering the city. Then there is a jetty for the canals which can take travelers to different parts of the city, is a part of the mobility hub. Cochin and for that matter, Kerala is well connected by backwaters and also canal systems, and this is a very enjoyable way of traveling for the commuters. Then metro rail station is also being constructed in the hub, and the port, airport and railway stations are also closely by. This mobility hub brings in multimodal integration, causing decongestion of the city. This is the bus terminal. This is the boat jetty, which is just a part of the mobility hub. This is the proposed metro station. The construction is happening now, and I'll close my words with that. Thank you for the close attention. Thank you, one and all.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm José Pfurr. I'm the director of Smart Cities in Barcelona. I want to say you only three things. First is thank you for staying here with us in the Smart City Expo, because I think it's important for us that different people in the world, cities, industry, academia, can share together knowledge, can share projects, initiatives to build better cities in our future. Second thing that we want to say you that it's many thanks, Norway, because at this time it's better to stay in the beach or in the La Ramblas, and I'm very happy that you stay here with me, because I want to say you the third thing, that it's share with you our vision about Smart City project in Barcelona. When we talk about Smart City, we talk about future, we talk about city. Then for us, it's very important to understand that when we do the roadmap of the Smart City, we are looking of what type of city we want for the next 20, 30 years in Barcelona. Then we talk about citizens and we talk about business, okay? For us, it's very important that put in the middle of the different strategies the citizen, how can the citizens can live better in Barcelona. At the same time, it's important that companies understand and administration understand that we need to do the Barcelona and a business-friendly city, because we want that the companies, the private sector can invest and can deploy solutions in our city. Then in our model, in our vision, we have to build a roadmap that work in all areas in the city. It's a holistic vision. For us, it's important, I repeat, to build its opportunity to build the next future city during the next 20, 30 years. Then, for us, it's very important to have a holistic vision and to deploy solutions in all areas. Then, we define 22 programs, then deploying solutions, or talking about mobility, of course, but we're talking about data, open data, we're talking about telecommunications, regulation, resilience, urbanism, culture, all things, all areas in the city are in the smart city concept or smart city vision in our case. And of course, mobility. Mobility is one of the best or the more important areas in our strategy. Then in our case, for us, it's very important to understand too that smart city, it's breaking silos. Then mobility is not only about mobility. Talking about mobility, it's talking about mobility, energy, it's talking about and linked about data. We have a good agreement with Waze and Google to explore the relation between mobility and data. We have a flight and a flagship project that is the electrical vehicle, because for us it's important the vision about energy and pollution. Then we have some initiative that working around the different areas and putting the mobility in the center of this vision. Then for us it's very important in our strategy, in our vision, that collaborate with the private sector. We say that administration must to do facilities, but the projects, the initiative, the innovation is in the private sector. Then we need good partners. We need a stronger relation with good partners. I can see here people about from Schneider Telven. It's a good partner for us. And let me introduce my colleague, that it's José Antonio. It's from SABA. SABA is a stronger partner in Barcelona. It's a Spain company, but it's a multinational that work together to build a smart parking solution in Barcelona. Then, José Antonio, I think that it's your turn. But I insist, for us, it's very important to understand the private and public sector that we need to collaborate together to deploy solutions, innovative solutions in our cities. Yes.
So thank you, José. I'd like for this last presentation, I'm trying not to tire you too long. I'd like to share two projects, just following José's presentation. Just a few words of who we are. We are an infrastructure operator. We are based here in Spain, in Barcelona particularly, and we work in 6 different countries. We're very focused on logistics areas and car parks. You have some figures here. But what I'd like to say today is that we strongly believe the car park is a very powerful tool for traffic management and solving urban mobility problems nowadays. How do we do this? With a specific projects. This project called BAT, this one, okay, was presented here in this same room last year. This is a ICT, vehicle to infrastructure project using technology that uses RFID devices from the toll highways, the same toll highways devices, but in car park environment. In Spain, it's called BAT, that's the brand of this solution. We also developed a complete set of tools to interact with the car park information, like GPS, apps, and so on. And I'd like to share today the results of this project. Today, since last year, we will reach about 2 million cars using these solutions, but it's a figure. What is more important is we have reduced car flow in car park access into 1/3. And what does it mean? That the queues and the traffic around car parks area have reduced in a high manner. So it's 1/3 that 1 year ago. So this is a really profitable project who proves really, who tests locally in a real project how it works. But today I'm glad to present a project. Today is the first time we explain this project in a public event like this. Our most innovative project for the next year, which is called BAMSA. BAMSA is a PPP operation, a public-private collaboration with the city of Barcelona. This operation will handle all the car parks public car park offers in the downtown city of Barcelona. And behind this project, there will be a lot of new tools, and all the theory we try to explain in this kind of events will be tested and proved here. And just a few numbers of which this project. BAMSA is 26 car parks. It's almost 12,000 car park spaces off-street. All of this is off-street. And behind this project is a business model. So it's a flexible business model with the local administration here in Barcelona. And what are we going to test here? There are many ideas shared in these few days in Smart City Congress. We will check how network solutions can help also wireless devices like BAT, innovative payments through mobile basically, intermodality through connections between public and private transportation, and also a very personalized use of the information, something that José explained before, following the policies of the city of Barcelona. But I'm trying to do my best explaining the project, that I have a video with me. I think it's much easier to show what I'm trying to say.
Nowadays, Barcelona has become a world reference point for innovation, creativity, and quality of life. However, like all major cities, it faces mobility issues such as traffic saturation and pollution. In this context, SABA has been working with Barcelona City Council to design an innovative car park network, connected, adapted to new lifestyles, and backing intermodal services. A network based on sustainable mobility. We're trying to make it easier to move around the city. SABA's website and app help you plan your trip. weighing up your options and encouraging the use of different means of transport. In addition, the dynamic panels keep you informed during your journey. BAT onboard equipment for electronic toll collection system in Spain makes car park entry easy, fast and stress-free, cutting queues on entry ramps and reducing CO2 emissions and paper consumption. Let's explore the car park of the future. Facilities with more services and technological innovations. More efficient and environmentally friendly car parks. Customers benefit from wider spaces adjusted to current vehicles. Spaces for families and people with reduced mobility. Electric vehicles charging spaces. Collective transport options such as car sharing. Spaces for micro-distribution and self-service points for e-commerce products. Information points with touchscreens provide real-time city maps, locate points of interest, and provide information on the current state of the public transport network. Users can also find out the best way of continuing their journey, whilst being encouraged to use sustainable transport such as renting motorbikes and electric bikes. Thanks to the new unified control and charging system, customers can use different payment methods, such as VAT or their own mobile phone. Commercial products adapted to their needs, such as joint offers between the City Council and urban transit companies. SABA's mobility proposal for Barcelona involves making it easier to find a parking space with more information, streamlining entry, parking and payment, and providing innovative facilities with intermodal services. We are backing an effective combination of private vehicles, public transport and sustainable resources, reducing traffic jams and pollution. A people-friendly city, tailored to suit the mobility needs of its citizens. A city for people.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so we've heard from a lot of really interesting people. We've heard about a lot of ideas. Now I'm sure everyone here has their own questions. So we're going to open this up for some question and answer. And I think we have some microphones out in the crowd. So if anyone, they're standing right there. So if anyone has any questions, just go right up to the mics. Okay, I'll start with a question. All right, well, one idea that actually came up in our earlier session was around the sharing economy, or in our earlier conversation was about the sharing economy and how tech apps like Uber and Airbnb are sort of changing the way we use resources like housing and cars, obviously. So I wanted to hear, I think Barcelona has a public car sharing system. I wanted to hear about that, how a municipal car sharing system actually works. Not to put you on the spot.
Hey, yeah. Okay, now we have some experience in car sharing. It's private experience. It's private experience. Not at the moment, it's not a public experience. With cars, with motorbikes. We are in a pilot with motorbikes, electrical motorbikes, to understand it's a good way to doing a car sharing for the public officers, okay, and the public people that works in the city council about in Barcelona, but in the close areas, okay. And for us, car sharing is a good a good way, but we believe in a public transport. Then in Barcelona, there are a very good transport with buses, with metro. Then I think it's a good mix to deploy better public transportation to do better smart parking solutions, and of course to link with the car sharing private experience.
I think we only have time for one more question, so if anyone...
Hello, my name is Mohammad Hanish. I'm a delegate from India and a colleague of Mr. James Varghese. I've been working in the Ministry of Urban Development along with him. My question is this. We have been seeing many kinds of multimodal transportation systems coming here. The basic thing about any multimodal transportation system is that, one, it should be cost effective, and second, there should be seamless integration of the different modes of transportation. What happens in our case is, in many cities, we find different systems existing without having a deal of integration. So what are the solutions for that, so that the public are, by voluntary nature, forced or rather, on their own, adopt multimodal systems of transportation? What do we do for that?
Is this on? Can you hear me? Yeah. Well, what's happened in the New York City region is a couple of things. One is we've used zoning in conjunction with transportation to encourage more intense development where there's a transportation station node. So we've had much more transit-oriented development. The other thing that is happening is as the region grows and expands outward, we link different modes together. So you'll have buses feeding commuter rail stations that are outside the city, and then the commuter rail brings people into the city. We're doing all sorts of different combinations of these modes. For example, right now we have a problem where our bus station is just overwhelmed with too many buses for its capacity. And so what we're looking at is, does it make sense to have bus stations outside the city and then have shuttle service between those new bus stations outside the city and in the city? Another idea is have bus stations outside the city that then feed the commuter rail. So those are sort of the things that we've been doing to try to integrate service. Another thing is we added ferry service just in the last 25 years where there had been none, and we have buses and rail feeding the ferry service. So those are the types of things we've been trying.
In our case, in Barcelona metropolitan area, it's a public system. The planning, it's public. The integration of the different systems, bikes, buses, metro, trains, etc., it's all in a public planning and a public management. But each one, it's managed by private companies. Bicing. Bicing, it's managed by a private company. But the planning, the license, and the vision of the next steps, it's all in the region public management. Okay. And we are now integrating all these systems with one ticket, and to pay with one only ticket, bikes, buses, metro, train, etc. Right? And with the idea in the next year to put all of this in the iPhone, because the smartphone, okay? Because we are convinced that in the next few years, all things that citizens do in the city will be in the smartphones.
And on that note, we're going to end today. Thank you so much for being with us, and have a great rest of your day.